so Monarch Season 1 finally ended. It was freaking awesome. There were like a few human bits that bugged the crap out of me, but like the story and the kaiju, everything was beautiful. So now we go to Dangerville. It's time to check out every single Godzilla scene and then check out the breakdown of the final battle. So subscribe to Dangerville and let's get into it. All right, let's get into this. Also, leave a like on the video if you love Godzilla. I'm so excited. Season 2 is so clearly going to be based around Kong, which is very exciting. This was so epic because we got to see a whole other perspective. Although her standing there staring at Godzilla instead of getting the kids off the bus is why some of them died. Like, she had plenty of time to get them off and she just stood there looking at Godzilla. Pretty intense.
That would be a reasonable guess, but we took
Does this count? Because it was just like a foot.
In Indonesia.
3 weeks ago, before
I wouldn't mind a footprint like that of Scarlett Johansson, you know what I'm saying? I'd eat out of it. That's disgusting. This was sweet. This was an awesome scene. It's cool seeing how much smaller Godzilla was. It really puts in perspective because everyone thinks Dagon is like a weenie because he's smaller than Godzilla. But Godzilla was much smaller than Godzilla. We just made him big. We did that. He's our buddy. Although we weren't trying to kill it. He's so thin, he looks like a child. It trips me out every time. It's like teenage Godzilla. Prepubescent Godzilla. This scene was awesome. This was so cool. Although he bugged the crap out of me for going to, like, you know what I mean? Like, he ruined everything by it. Such a doofus. There was no reason for him to be there. God, so amazing. So much bigger now. By this logic, we should just keep nuking Godzilla until he's like 1,000 feet tall. I guess that would have negative repercussions. This tripped me out. I was like, what's he doing in the desert? How long has he been taking a desert nap? What the hell? Like, clearly there was time for dust and dirt to form over his dorsal spikes. He must have been laying there a while. Or he just nuzzled himself in, I suppose. I always imagined if you were this close to Godzilla, you're gonna get like some sort of cancer, testicular cancer, something. Because he's like a nuclear like there's no way this dude isn't giving off radiation off the charts. Isn't everywhere kaiju go through like a contaminated zone? So wouldn't standing next to them be super risky? That helicopter pilot bugged the crap out of me. I was like, what else are you looking at, bro? Dude's like playing Happy Birds on his phone. Flappy Birds? I freaking love Russell Crowe though. That dude's so awesome. Oh, now we're talking. Man, this episode though is crazy. Although he had like, I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, but Russell Crowe had like 10 minutes to get in that pot. Not Russell Crowe, you idiot. Kurt Russell had like 15 minutes to get in that pod. So epic. Dude's just ripping chunks off him. This crap, dude. I was so curious about this funky goo. Titan goo? Crazy. Crazy concept. Imagine if that got on a human. I thought sending him through with that speed was so brutal. Dude's gonna arrive in a totally different area without a... Wouldn't he also arrive at Skull Island where they end up? I'm so confused by that, actually. Why wasn't there half of a freaking ion dragon when they landed? Like, here, shouldn't there have been half an ion dragon here? I'm confused. Maybe Dangerville will explain that. Yes. The most handsome man on the planet, Kong. All right, so now let's have all this explained to us in grand detail. Now let's see what Dangerville has to say. Maybe they could explain some of my questions. All right.
Monarch Legacy of Monsters has officially ended. Yeah, we stopped doing the breakdowns, I know. To be brutally honest with you all, the reason why we stopped doing the breakdowns is because even though we think the show's been solid overall, you could say for the most part,
yeah,
it's clear that you guys want more of one thing, more Godzilla. Although the normies have enjoyed this show, they may not know what the heck the Monsterverse is, but they've been enjoying the show from what I've been seeing and hearing about.
Well, that's
and I
good.
guess the show has done relatively well for Apple in terms of total views, so it's probably going to get that season 2. So I'm not gonna do a traditional breakdown, but in this video I'm gonna talk about what we all want to actually talk about, Godzilla's big fight with the Ion Dragon. But I'm still going to spend some time talking about the ending of season 1, focusing on my favorite character in the show, Shaw.
He's gonna mention that Shaw had like 20 minutes to get in that pod. I'm telling you, it must have bugged a lot of people.
Sorry if you missed the standard breakdowns, guys. Maybe next season we can get back into them if the YouTube audience shows a little bit more interest. If you've been following this show at all, then you're probably aware of the fans' dissatisfaction with the series' lack of monsters. And I get it, the show is about Monarch, not about Godzilla, but the rest of the title is Legacy of Monsters, not Legacy of Dysfunctional Families and Relationships.
Since he's being honest, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't care about any of these human stories whatsoever. The 3 main characters, bunch of complainy pants. Oh, my dad, my sister, my mom. Shut up, we all got problems. There's like armless kids in Syria right now, bro. Shut up. There, I had to get that off my chest, there.
But anyway, regardless, all of that led up to this one big battle at the very end between Godzilla and the Ion Dragon. So as our characters are trying to escape this world between worlds of sorts, which we're going to talk about more here in a little bit, the Ion Dragon suddenly attacks them. And I have to say, this scene looks really good for a TV show.
It does.
It's very clear with a limited budget that this show chose quality over quantity, although a little bit more quantity would have been nice, don't you agree?
Yep.
And just as the Ion Dragon is about to make a snack of our characters, we hear that familiar noise we all love. The King of the Monsters is coming, and boy does he look great. This right here might just be one of my favorite shots of Godzilla in the entirety of the Monsterverse. That being said, this fight might be one of my favorites in the entire series. It's actually really good, so let's break it down.
It was pretty sweet.
We haven't seen the G-Man take on a flying enemy since the very first Monsterverse movie against the male Muto. Yeah, Ghidorah was capable of flying, but he didn't really use that during combat, so I'm not gonna count it. And at first, we actually see Godzilla struggle against this opponent, once again, seeing that he has a hard time dealing with enemies that are fast, and especially the ones that can fly around and move past him way quicker than he can move his giant body. Here's the Ion Dragon trying to give Godzilla a Titan hickey, which Godzilla is not having, and he straight up yeets the Ion Dragon into the side of the cliff. The monster recovers quickly and zooms right back at Godzilla, latching onto the big guy's chest and proceeding to vomit directly in his face.
What is that vomit, though?
Between hickeys and squirting on faces, this Ion Dragon is a kinky monster. Sorry guys, I had to have a little fun there. And after being degraded
Squirting
twice,
on
Godzilla's
faces.
officially had enough of this crap. Godzilla literally pummels the Ion Dragon. This stuff is brutal and I absolutely love it. Just Godzilla being the pure badass that he is. The Ion Dragon at this point is severely damaged. The fight's almost done. Godzilla then quickly does that Alien vs Predator move, and in the process of that, we then get a Mortal Kombat style fatality. The G-Man straight rips one of the wings off of this monster, and then throws the thing back into that dimensional portal thing. And now our human characters are pulled back into this same portal, but not all of them. Shaw unfortunately sacrifices himself to be left behind.
He had plenty of time.
Never shown if he's actually dead or not. I believe he's still alive.
Everybody, they didn't complain about it. I'm just a weenie.
We might go back and do a more specific video on this weird Hollow Earth dimensional place, but right now I'm going to do a brief summary of what we know about it. In the show, they refer to it as Axis Mundi, which is a name for a place that's somewhere in between a heavenly world and the actual real world. So this isn't actually the Hollow Earth. Instead, it's more of a random pocket somewhere in between. Now, in Godzilla vs. Kong, they were able to go through the portal and make it all the way to the Hollow Earth, and that was because they had specific technology in the He vehicle to allow them to pass through. But we see in Monarch that if you just straight up yeet yourself down it without anything covering you, that you're gonna end up probably anywhere but the Hollow Earth. and be shot out somewhere in the Axis Mundi. And since this idea is already outlandish and crazy enough, why not go and throw on the idea of time pausing here? Now, this is making the MonsterVerse lore very elaborate at this point, but it was nice for the show. I really enjoyed seeing Shaw and Kika reunite. It was very impactful.
It was
I haven't
emotional.
been a fan of the weird obsession with family and relationship drama that this show had, but the dang storyline with Shaw and Kiko and the old Rhonda, man, it's been so good. Why did they not just make the entire show focused on these characters? And it all added up to Shaw being left here in this world.
Honestly, 100% agree. Like I said, I hated the human stuff, but every flashback character and Shaw and like, yeah, all this stuff was amazing. It was more the other people that I didn't care about their storyline at all. This storyline was perfect. I was fighting off tears at the end.
Now, my rule is if they don't show the character die on screen, they're not dead. He's definitely still alive. We didn't see him get splattered on the side of a rock or anything.
I feel like he definitely died.
Future Kurt Russell MonsterVerse appearances, it better be. He's the best actor they've had in a long time. But this Shaw storyline that he and his son awesomely acted out together resonated with me, and I think if the show focused more on this, and throughout the season was more like the last 2 episodes of the show, I think viewers wouldn't have been as divided on the show as they are now. This last episode was pretty emotional, I'm not gonna lie. I couldn't stand the cheesy stuff with Kate and May like calling to each other. The first thing they do when they fall into this mysterious, dangerous world is like, May, Kate, oh my god,
I hated Kate and May, bro.
No one would act like that. Come on, writers. They've known each other for like a month.
Yeah,
it's
dude, they
crazy
just
to me
met.
how the show was at some points really cringy and then at the next really emotionally impactful. When Shaw and Kika reunited, I ain't gonna lie, I almost got teary-eyed. It was beautiful.
I did.
Those
I got
two
teary-eyed.
actors killed it compared to everyone else. So what about season 2? Well, at the end of the show, guess where they pop out the other side of the portal at? Skull Island. And we get to see this cameo of our furry boy Kong. So if there is a season 2, which I believe there will be, like I said, the show's done pretty well whether you've enjoyed it or not. But I really hope season 2 focuses a little bit more on giving the Kaiju MonsterVerse fans, I don't know, stuff that they actually want to see, instead of focusing so much on getting randoms that don't even know what the MonsterVerse is with all these weird side story tangents.
Yeah!
And if the show's able to do that, you know, actually focusing on the MonsterVerse lore and the actual Monarch or Apex secrets, instead of spending so much time showing you what not to do when you're trying to have a relationship or a family, then we might just get a show that's made for everyone and not just certain demographics of people.
Would be nice.
I personally enjoyed the show for what it was worth. Now, I do think that the middle of the series could have been much, much better. And you've heard me rant enough, I feel like a ton of time was wasted on pointless storylines that did nothing to help the story move forward.
Bro, I hated episode 7 so much, I didn't watch the show for like 2 weeks. It was just, I just could not express how disappointed I was with those lame storylines, man. I gotta vent a little also. It's so frustrating.
Like, why do I care what happened to this chick the morning on the day that Godzilla arrived if it doesn't have anything to do with the story and, you know, the Monarch secrets that we're supposed to be learning about?
Yes!
Overall, though, I'm happy that this show exists. I'm happy that it got made. For us MonsterVerse fans, this is cool. This is something new. We never get Godzilla TV shows. Although, this isn't a Godzilla TV show. We have to remember that. Which, by the way, if you want to see every single bit of Godzilla action in Monarch Legacy of the Monsters, we threw together a video that you can go check out that shows every single one of Godzilla's scenes in the show. And while there's not many of them,
hey, we just watched
nice
that.
to watch. So go have fun there if you want. And like I said before, if you want us to make more videos on the TV show, well, we got to get a little bit more interaction going on, so help us by sharing the video around, getting the algorithm fired up, because right now, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the fandom or it's the audience or what, or if it's YouTube just throttling certain videos, but when we go and make videos on the show, it just doesn't seem to get much attention, and there's channels way bigger than us that are making videos on the show and still barely getting any views in the grand scheme of things. So I don't know what we can do to make that better next time. Like I said, it's because I think mostly the people that watch Monarch are people that aren't actually fans of the MonsterVerse, you know.
I think that's literally exactly it. I don't know many Goji fans at all who have been talking about this show at all, except maybe the last episode a bunch, but otherwise it's been very just focused on random family crap.
They're They have Apple TV and they're like, wow, this show looks good. Oh wow, Kurt Russell, I had a crush on him back in the 80s.
Exactly what it is.
Stuff like that, and then they go and watch it. And like I said, I heard a story. One of my buddies told me that his parents, which are in their early 70s, late 60s sort of range, they actually were thoroughly enjoying the show, and I never heard them talk about Godzilla ever in my whole entire life. So that's kind of telling you who's watching this show and why it seems like even though the MonsterVerse fans or the Kaiju fans kind of seem to make fun of it or want to mock it because of, you know, the whole message crap that happened during the earlier part of the show. I don't know, man. This is a weird show to kind of rate and judge. I guess the moral we can get from this is just because you don't like the approach a TV show or a movie takes doesn't mean that there's not a bunch of other people that do.
That's the lesson.
End of the day, if we get a bunch of new MonsterVerse fans, a bunch of new Godzilla and Kong and Kaiju fans, heck, a bunch of them that are like in their 60s and 70s, hey, who cares? That's pretty cool, right? At the end of the day, the Godzilla worldwide takeover is still underway. And that's just prime.
That was a beautiful outro. It was a beautiful video. I freaking love Dangerville. I tell you guys to go subscribe to it, but you obviously already are. Unless you're not, and then what the hell? This was a very good breakdown. I feel like I'd agree with Jacob on just about every aspect of the show. It was an amazing show. There was a bunch of amazing stuff, but it was like 50% random family bullcrap. I don't even deal with my own family bullcrap, bro. Someone else's? That's crazy. But then, yeah, it brings in a whole new bunch of other fans because millions of people do like just watching dumb crap. So it's a win-win ultimately. More Godzilla fans. But yes, subscribe to Dangerville, leave a like, and I'll see you next time.